This is Dream Chasers, episode 47, with Stephanie BALIGA. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Adam Carswell, and welcome to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. On Dream Chasers, we interview individuals with supernatural amounts of potential based on early success in their careers. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's get straight to the interview. Hey guys, this is Adam Carswell, and today I'm joined by Stephanie BALIGA, also known as Sister Stephanie. Stephanie is the Swiss Army knife, as I like to call her, at Mission of Our Lady of the Angels. She's originally from Rockford, Illinois, went to the University of Illinois in Champaign, and now Sister Stephanie lives in West Humboldt Park, which is in Chicago. So Sister Stephanie, thank you for being on the show. And do you have any opening remarks for our listeners?
No, I'm really excited to join you guys for this conversation today.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you and to tie into our previous interview. So the episode here right before yours, Stephanie, the guest was also introduced to me by our dear friend, Michael Flight. Michael brought you onto my radar and he's like, hey, Adam, this is a nun that's getting ready to, or that runs marathons and is getting ready to go run some more marathons. So that's really the attention-grabbing aspect that I first learned about you, Sister Stephanie. So tell us, where did this all start? First of all, your career path, everything that you're doing, you kind of like to refer to yourself as the Swiss Army knife. And then how does running marathons go into, everything else that you're doing? Because it is pretty rare to find a nun that's doing what you're doing.
Yeah. That's a lot of, let me try to touch base on all those questions.
It's a lot.
I've loved all these questions. Great. So I'm a 30-year-old nun, so that's rare to begin with. And so extremely blessed to be where I am and doing what I'm doing. I live at Mission of Our Lady of the Angels in West Humboldt Park. West Humboldt Park is one of the worst neighborhoods in the United States of America, and we work with the neighborhood there. We provide food and material resources to about 1,000 families a month and provide other services to hundreds of youth, seniors, and families, additionally, every single month. We're extremely blessed to live completely off divine providence, meaning that we don't earn incomes ourselves, and we live completely off the donations of people who give us material goods and monetary donations. Our entire lives are a miracle. Our entire lives, hopefully, are a witness to the love of God to the world. So we believe that our entire lives exist to be able to serve our neighbors in need and be able to serve the people there in West Humboldt Park. And so to do that, we also, divine providence isn't just like laying on the couch eating Cheetos, like waiting for stuff to show up. So we actually have to do stuff. So one of the things that I do to be able to raise support and cash for our work with the poor is to run and organize a large charity team that runs the Chicago Marathon every single year. I actually just ran out of spots for the 2019 Chicago Marathon, but I'm already looking forward to having all of you people that are listening run the 2020 Bank of America Chicago Marathon for a Mission of Our Lady of the Angels. It's the best, most awesomest charity team. You get to be a nun to be your coach. It's a good time. So I've been running for a really long time. I started running when I was 9, and I ran varsity cross country and track at University of Illinois, where I was very blessed to be the sixth fastest freshman in the nation in 2006. Been very blessed to been able to use the gifts that God has given me to be able to run fast, to be able to glorify Him here at the mission, and to raise money for our work with the poor.
Yeah, wow, that's very, to me, this is all new news as well, right? We're just getting to know each other, so that's really cool to hear, and I could feel it, just talking to you. I don't know if anyone's ever told you this before, and it sounds like obviously your energy flows into everything that you do. You definitely got some passion and some desire behind your voice. I feel inspired just hearing you explain to us who you are and what you do.
Sweet. I'm hoping that's, that grace stuff works sometimes, right? It's good. I hope that's the thing that's happening. We're very blessed because of the things that we experience and the way that God works in our lives. So, it's all, I would like that it's Jesus working through all of us to be able to bring that to you and people listening, hopefully.
It's not like you didn't just drink 4 cups of coffee or something before our call, did you?
Well, yeah, I always drink coffee because it's like this, one of our sisters calls it liquid grace. It's this extra bonus. The coffee was, actually I drank coffee an hour ago. So it's the initial is worn off. So no, I think it's grace.
Liquid grace.
So,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, Sister Stephanie. So we are now going to step into the next level chamber. When did you realize that this career was something that you wanted to take to the next level?
Yeah, so sisters we don't usually call, so I mean, obviously in a way this is my job and my career, but what we call our lives are a vocation. We believe that our guys' lives are a calling from God, so we know vocare in Latin. Eddie, hopefully linguist, I think it's Latin, don't call in and say that girl doesn't know what you're talking about. It's believed that vocare means to call. We believe that this is how we've been called by God to live. So through my vocation, my calling from God of how to live is the lens in which I do my work, which is just an extension of my vocation, of my calling by God to dedicate myself completely to Him in every part of my life. My vocation is to be a sister primarily, which my primary job is to pray and to continue to be and grow in the relationship with Jesus. But then through that, we're inspired and given capacity to do beautiful work with the poor. And then we also do a lot of work with retreats, and I teach, and we do a lot of work outside of the mission with other people in Chicago and in the area. And then we are very blessed. I'm very blessed to be able to coordinate extremely large numbers of volunteers that come and work with us at the mission, including Michael Flight and his family, and all of our amazing people that come to help us at the mission. We also are able to be with them.
Yeah, and
did it answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. It's bringing back memories for me too, because now that I'm hearing some of the words you're using. So I went to NDCL, which is short for Notre Dame Cathedral Latin in Northeast Ohio. It is a school originally founded by the Sisters of Notre Dame. I think back to all of the sisters that I did have teach me throughout high school. Now, it wasn't entirely and I might use some terms here wrong along the way, but it wasn't like the entire sisterhood who was teaching the students. Like, we did have other teachers and parents, family, what's the word I'm looking for? Like moms and dads. It wasn't just like sisters.
It wasn't just the sisters teaching you. You had other
Thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to get help. Thank you for getting me.
You're good. You're doing great. You're doing awesome.
So anyways, you're bringing back memories for me, because I'll never forget having Sister Nancy. Sister Nancy, if you're out there listening to this still, I still love you, and you obviously made a huge impact on my life and everyone else that's gone through you at NDCL. Sister Nancy was, age-wise, she was a little bit more up there. As far as I know, I don't think she was, and she's probably going to listen to this and be like, Adam, you're wrong. She's going to send me on a one-way ticket to the moon, as she always says. I don't know if she was doing what she's doing now when she was 30. You say you're a 30-year-old nun. That does, now that you bring it to my attention, it's kind of like, how did that happen? And is that common and we just don't see it, or are you really kind of like an exception?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are young women religious out there, and then most of the older women religious that many people that might be listening to this are familiar with obviously were once 30 years old, and they were likely 30-year-old nuns, because most of the people in religious life enter when they're like 20-ish,
Okay.
And so right now there are still women, contrary to what people might believe, entering religious life, and there's a significant number of women doing this. So it's not like I'm like the only one. It's not huge numbers, but it's a growing group of people. So I was called by God to make this choice because, long story short, I was raised Catholic but didn't really care, kind of like standard millennial status, and then went to college, obviously was a very good runner, like I mentioned before, and then had a very serious injury where I was forced to reevaluate kind of what I was doing with my life, because if I couldn't run, what does my life actually mean? Oh my gosh, something besides running in my life means something. So like, what a concept. So I was like kind of blown to the ground, kind of like I need to evaluate why I live and what I'm doing. And through that process, ended up going on a retreat through the church on campus and had a very powerful experience at adoration, which is a type of prayer where Catholics pray in front of the Eucharist, which we believe is Jesus, the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus, where I really knew that Jesus was there. And I was super blown away by his presence in my life and completely drawn to dedicate my life to him totally and completely through this experience. And so at that time, I didn't really pray and didn't really barely practiced my faith. So it was a journey from there to where I am now. But through that experience was what initially led me to consider and move forward to become a sister.
Yeah. Wow. What was the injury and how did that take place?
Yeah, I was in the best shape of my life, really running really, really well. And I was running on a regular training run and a bone in my foot cracked in half spontaneously. Not like a stress fracture type thing, but it was totally cracked in half completely. And I was just really couldn't walk, couldn't do anything for a long time, a very long time, a couple months. Yeah, it was for me, who had never been really injured ever, it was a very big deal. Some people would be like, girl, get over yourself. But it was like a big, very life-changing experience for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So now that you're in this vocation, who else with a similar vocation do you consider a leader? Who are you inspired by? Where do those individuals in your life, who are they and how do they inspire you?
Good question. So, like you mentioned, and you know a sister who dramatically influenced your life through your experience at the school you went to. I believe mostly, so there's lots of religious out there who have inspired me by their witness of their lives, meaning sisters and brothers and priests who have dramatically influenced my life through the way that they live their own lives. My superior, Father Bob, is an excellent example to me in the way that he lives his life, as well as several different people who've been spiritual guides for me over the past, when I've been a sister for the past almost 10 years at this point, as well as some priests and sisters that lived at the Newman Center when I was at U of I. And then there's I'm continuously inspired by my peers, honestly, it's not frequent, not super frequent that you're obviously encounter young people in their 20s-ish deciding to become priests and sisters and brothers. So I am inspired by the witness of my peers who are making this radical choice to be able to dedicate their life to Jesus.
Awesome. Are there any peers that might get to hear this interview that you want to give some kudos to?
Peers? Oh, my community. So number one, my crew at the Casa. So we got my crew at the Casa. Well, hopefully, I don't know if they listen. I hope that hopefully listen to this. Sister Kate, Sister Alicia, they were here before me, who have been very good friends and excellent compadres in the journey. And then we've got Sister Jamie, Sister Jess, Sister Laura, Sister Teresa, Brother Matt at the house. We're very grateful for their presence and their witness to me every day.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And so we jokingly introduced you as the Swiss Army knife of Mission of Our Lady of the Angels, but you were very happy to assume that title. So tell us a little bit about what your daily life looks like and how you are the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, so I'm blessed to be a good administrator. So I spend a lot of time, I'm the maintenance girl, I'm like the business administrator, and I do a lot of like warehousing work. So like I organize our donations, as well as I'm currently organizing our very large construction project. So I do manual labor as well as do the administrative work behind the manual labor, as well as organize the volunteers who do the work for moving thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of donations around, as well as organizing the arrival of the donations, and then organizing the distribution of the donations, and then the money that we need to do all this, as well as the buildings that we need to do it in, and then the maintenance of the buildings, and then people. And the cycle of life. Donations, people's buildings, donation, people, buildings. So it works out. It's beautiful. So I'm very blessed in many ways to be able to experience God through His providence through these things.
Yeah, you're like the glue, and I think that's a very common thing that we see in business or organizations or just groups of people. Whoever the administrator is, that's the person who is the heartbeat of that group. And if for any point in time that administrator is absent or not there or leaves, it's noticed, and it's noticed like almost immediately. I think it's interesting because I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to any of my other shows, but normally we're talking to the CEO, we're talking to the owner, we're talking to the founder. Rarely do we talk to any administrators on Dream Chasers. Actually, I guess we could say you're pretty much the first one, and then you're a nun that runs marathons, which is
woo-hoo. Yeah.
So
awesome.
I do respect everything that you do, because from what it sounds like and what I can imagine, people probably are impacted by you without even realizing it.
I hope so. I mean, that's what the goal would be. So that's awesome.
And I know you mentioned before we hopped on the call that you said you were grading some papers. So are you teaching as well?
Yeah, I teach part-time at a school called St. Sylvester's near where we live, and I teach 2nd through 8th grade religion. Yeah, it's a good time. Teaching's really hard, as people that teach know. But it's a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful to be able to be with all my kids.
How long have you been teaching there part-time?
I've been here for 2 years.
Okay. So you haven't really got to see the kids come through and grow up and kind of go through that process yet. Well, actually, I guess 2 years, you feel like you've really seen a lot of growth with some of your students?
You can see a lot of stuff in 2 years. Yeah, kids grow pretty quick.
What are some things that you notice with them in regards to learning?
It's really beautiful to watch kids be able to make more concrete choices towards, for me, obviously I'm teaching religion, towards their own faith, and to obviously be able to make decisions on their own and be able to do that through the lens that you created for them, and be able to mold them into positive, growth-looking thinkers, looking towards critical analysis and being able to make decisions that are not based on immediate gratification. And they're like a larger, being able to see the larger picture and their influence and effect on the world around them.
What's some advice or maybe an example of something that, throughout your vocation, throughout your life, you would consider, somewhat of a mistake and you feel like you really learned from it? And if you could advise anyone following your footsteps, what would that be?
To be able to let the Lord do what he wants with you and attempt not to fight him, which is a lifelong battle. So, can be applied to business, as this potentially is being listened to, these business type people. It's like this capacity to be open to the way that your life is being drawn into, like that your life is not controlled by the routines and controlled by the systems that exist, but that we know that the Lord wants to break through what exists to bring something new and bring a new life to all of us every day, to be able to open to the way that the Spirit wants to use you every day. Even if it's easier to stick to our routines and stick to the ways that we know, to be open to how the Lord wants to do extraordinary things through every single one of us if we're open to him in our lives. Wow.
I feel like we could just end the interview right now on that note. That was very well
said. Good. I hope that's well thought through.
But no, we have some fun questions here for everyone to kind of feel like they got to know you a little bit more today. So first question is, we can answer, I'm just going to shoot them out at you. You can answer them in any order that you want to. So favorite flavor of ice cream, your favorite childhood memory, and the last one is your favorite grade level to teach. Obviously, we know you love all grades 2 through 8, but if you had to pick a favorite.
I have to pick a favorite. Some great questions here. My bias towards teaching older kids is I like teaching 8th graders because they're older. So I love little kids. I'm learning to love them more. But I really love teaching 8th grade because we can have more intense conversations, which is what I like to do. So it's great. And then my favorite ice cream flavor is, ironically, because I'm not a boring person, is vanilla. There you go. I gotta be less insane sometimes. So, and then my favorite childhood memory, that is such a difficult question. I think
maybe it doesn't even have to be your favorite, but maybe like the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah. I'm actually just remembering I'm very blessed to come from a really beautiful family. I'm very grateful for my family and my upbringing. Just like I'm remembering some fun times we went with my family. We go to Wisconsin and hang out at the lake and do our, youth. We were all a little bit hyperactive and energetic. Surprise, not surprise. And so we'd always go run 100 miles and then bike 100 miles and then, jump in the lake type of thing. Nice. You know what I mean? So we'd just be moving around nonstop all day. It's a good time.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sister Stephanie, what's the best way anyone can follow up or get in touch with you after listening to this interview?
Great question. I also run our website. Our website is www.missionola.com. So that's missionola.com. And you can sign up for the Chicago Marathon there, and you can sign up to stay in touch with the mission and sign up to stay in touch with me, because ironically there's 7,000 email links on that website, but they all go to the same inbox and it's fine. So if you want to talk to me, that's the way to talk to me, and I'd be super excited to talk to anybody who listens to this for any follow-up.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again, Sister Stephanie. Do you have any closing remarks before we wrap it up?
No, thanks for listening to me. I sound like a non-standard interviewee for this program, so I hope that everyone gets a little bit out of this.
Yeah, it's a good change of pace, break the mold, and to be honest, I was a little bit nervous how we were going to manage our way through this, but you did great. This is a really good interview.
Okay, good. I'm glad. It's awesome.
If this was a marathon, you won it.
Oh, sweet.
When is the next one that you're going to be competing in?
I'm running the Chicago Marathon in October.
Cool. All right, you guys can go watch Sister Stephanie live right there.
Yeah, Chicago Marathon. Donate now, missionole.com. Good times.
There you go. All right, well, thank you for tuning in to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. We will catch you guys in the next episode. And remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.